Hey, it's Airsoft Mike and I'm here today to do yet another unboxing. But this time, let me pose a question to you. Imagine you're a new Airsofter. You're just getting into the sport, into the hobby, into the game, and you want to get yourself a nice little AEG to get you going. Remember, you're a beginner. And as a beginner, the last thing you want to do is to be spending loads of money on an AEG when you've just started out in the hobby. For example, something like this. In the UK, this sort of setup will cost you about £700–800. Way too much for a beginner. In the US, don't even get me started, this same setup here will be well over $1,000. What if I told you you could get an AEG that would only cost you around $75 and it's not made out of plastic? What if I told you its main construction is metal and that it's an AEG? And that it's not an M4, which is what the world and his brother seems to run with these days. What if I told you in the UK you could get this same thing for around the £100 mark, possibly up to 130? What if I told you if you waited a bit longer and sourced it from another European country, you can get it for as little as £75? Let's get to it. It's a fantastic looking model. For the price, I am absolutely gobsmacked. The amount of metal components on this, all for that very low price, you really can't go wrong. Let me take you through some of the features before I test it to make sure it works. Right here, in the real steel world, this lever right here would normally put around in the chamber. But for the purpose of Airsoft, this reveals the hop-up adjustment. Very cool. On the top, you've got your iron sights and you can adjust it by just simply lifting and moving this little contraption right here. You see that? That goes up and down. So for example, if I leave it at the very end, you can see the angle that the sight is on there. If I say push it down halfway, you can see the sight has come even higher. And at its highest point, if I push this all the way down, look how high the sight is there. So I'll just put this back so it stays down. The front sight is also adjustable, and you can do that using the supplied key. You simply grab hold of the key, slot it on this piece right there, and you can adjust away. Absolutely fantastic. What else can I show you about this AK-47 from Cyma, specifically the Cyma CM028A? This part here, the top receiver part, the metal part here comes off. Now, I'll just take that off for you right now, as you can see. And the reason for this coming off gives you access to some of the internals of the gun, and you can start to strip the gun down. This is absolutely fantastic. This is the Cyma CM028A. To install the battery, you just got to take off this butt plate right here using a Phillips screwdriver. Then you're confronted with yet another plate here. But this one, you just push down, and there you go, there's your connector. This is what they refer to as a small Tamiya connector. Ensure the AK is on safe before installing the battery. What I do love about this straight away, this buttstock right here, it's got plenty of room to store the battery. You just feed the battery in, and all the cable, loads of room in there. Right, there are no BBs in here, so I'm going to shoot this in a very safe environment. So let me just go ahead and put the magazine in. Here is your selector lever. It has 3 modes: safe, full auto, semi-auto. Semi-auto, your single shots; full auto, your full auto onslaught; and safe. So right now, I'm going to put it in semi. There are no BBs in this gun, so I'm going to shoot it in a safe environment. I'll do a proper shooting test a little later in this video. Just want you to hear what it sounds like. There you go, that's your single shots right there. Gonna now put it onto full auto, have a listen. Absolutely epic. And the battery that I put in there isn't even fully charged. Absolutely fantastic and faithful replica of your AK-47. I love the fact that this gun is a budget gun, yet there are many metal parts. Let me take you through the construction of this gun. Obviously your stock right here, that's made out of some sort of strong plastic polymer. The lower part here of the gun, that's also made out of some strong polymer. The grip too, this part down here, plastic. But that's where the plastic fantastic ends, because everything else is metal. Your selector lever, metal. Your trigger and trigger guard, metal. This charging handle, metal. Iron sights, obviously, metal. The barrel, metal. The front sight, metal. Everything on the front here, metal. Your top rail, metal. The magazine, metal. Your sling mount, metal. The butt plate, metal. The gearbox, metal. Another cool feature of this model, I've already mentioned the fact that the buttstock right here has plenty of room to put almost any size battery in there. Obviously you've got to stick to within a certain voltage because you don't want to mess up the gearbox, but 8.4, maybe a little higher, not too bad. And as you've already heard, it sounds awesome even with just an 8.4 volt battery in there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go and test it out on the range. As I mentioned before, this magazine takes about 600 rounds, and for the sake of this video and review, I normally use G&G BBs, but I do have some ASG blasters left, so I'm going to use these up for this review. BBs are in. You now wind it up at the bottom and watch what happens at the very top of the mag. There you go. Can you see the first BB has appeared? So that's what you've got to do. You have to wind the bottom of the mag. Because it's such a high capacity magazine, you've got to be able to get the BBs up to the top right here so that it feeds into the gun. Right, let's wind her up a bit more. And you want to keep winding it until you feel some tension on the wheel. Don't know if you can hear the difference in the sound of me winding it. That means she's ready to fire. Let's just do semi-auto first. Okay. Let's go full auto. Oh. Now, as I mentioned before, the battery in this is not at its strongest point because it's not fully charged. So when it is fully charged, this gun will hit or shoot even harder. I'm not going to set up a target system. I'm not going to do an accuracy test right now. I'll do it in another review. What I'm going to test right now is how powerful the gun is.
Groovy.
my gosh. Even though I've been going on about this being a budget gun for beginners, for new starters in airsoft, I'm telling you, this beast packs a punch. Fantastic build, very sturdy. For the price, this really is a steal. I'm Airsoft Mike, and I approve this Airsoft AK-47.